Hi, everybody. I'm Bill Sanders, and this is Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection. Today, we're going to talk about what I call the affordable quad. There's a Holy Trinity. I think we talked about a middle Trinity, and this is the quad, the four affordable brands that have an in-house movement. And so to get started, what I was doing, I was taking a look at the group of that made the pre-selected group and the Grand Prix de Horlogerie de Genève. These are watches under 4,000 Swiss francs, which is about 4,000 bucks, a little less than 4,000 euro. And anyway, give you a rough idea. And I was looking at these watches. They're all under 4,000. I was finding all out about them. And one of the things that turned out was that only two of them had their own manufactured movement. The Seiko Presage had a porcelain dial and the Tudor Black Bay P01. So I thought, I wonder if I can find three brands that have sort of the Trinity idea that have that. And actually, I found that under 4,000, I found quite a few. And there were four that I selected because they seem to have enough, and there's probably going to be 100 more, and I'll get to them at some time. But right now, I thought, well, we'll talk about the affordable quad with in-house movement. So let's get started. I'm going to start with these two that are in the Grand Prix because both of them have won before, and so it's a nice thing. Okay, first of all, Seiko, the one that is in the pre-selected is this porcelain dial Presage. It's 22-200, has a caliber 6R27. Gorgeous watch, really nice. It has porcelain dial and all of this other good stuff about it, and it's quite attractive, and it's $2,200. The over to the right on the top there with the red 12 is the Presage Prestige. Now the Presage group of watches from Seiko are the ones with mechanical movements. It's the kind of thing we're looking at. They have some other really interesting ones, but we're going to look at the mechanical ones. Now this one, the Presage are divided into two groups, what they call the Presage Prestige and the Presage Basic. Presage Prestige, this one is a chronometer. It's $1,900. It has a caliber 8R48 in it. Again, all of these things are manufactured by Seiko. The movements are. So that's a heck of a good price for a manufactured movement in a chronometer. Now at the bottom there are a couple of what they call the Presage Basic, and boy, the prices are great. That little blue one at the lower left is one that I thought, man, this would be a nice little dress watch. If you're going on a date or something like that, it might be a nice one to have. $425. Relative to the price of everything else, that's a pretty good deal. They have it in different colors. It could be a good office watch too. The caliber 4R35. Now the caliber 4R35 is also used on the tonneau shape, the Presage Basic tonneau. It also has the same caliber, and it's for $625. The date window is at 6 o'clock on the tonneau and at 3 o'clock on the little blue watch. So I think Seiko has a whole lot of great watches with in-house movements, including my little Seiko 5 here, which was I know I got for under $100. These are neat little watches, and that particular one had a lot of history that I liked about it. Okay, moving right along. This next group, Tudor, has won a lot of awards for their watches in the Petite Aiguille category, and now in the challenge category. going after that one too. And these are all under $4,000 or 4,000 Swiss francs. Now, some of these have a little S next to them, and the S means a secondary. Now, what that means is that these are not the list prices, but this is what you can find them brand new for. So let's take a look at these. The first one, the Pelagos, is it won a few years ago one of the Grand Prix awards for the Petite Aiguille, and it's the secondary market. You can find them for $35.75. They're just a little over 4,000, but the list price. But don't worry about that. It has the caliber MT. MT stands for manufactured Tudor. That's just, so if you're looking at Tudors, and if it's got MT, it's one of the manufactured movements they have. The one next to it's the North Flag. These are watches I like. They're pure time watches. It's got a little power reserve indicator over at 9 o'clock on that. Caliber 5621. 3625. Look at that. Now, next to it is, to me, is a very interesting one. And this came out, it was in the Grand Prix in 2018 in the Challenger category. And this is the Black Bay GMT. Now, they may have had ideas for, oh, we're going to charge a little more for this one because it has a GMT. But then they found out that it couldn't be over 4,000 Swiss francs. So they have it listed as $39.50. But, for that, you get a really nice watch. This is one I like a lot. If you're thinking about a GMT, there's one you can get brand new. Now, this next one at the bottom left is one of the finalists in the Grand Prix, the Black Bay P01, 3750. It's an interesting little watch. It's got the crown down at 4 o'clock. And the interesting thing is that this Seiko 5 that first came out in 1967 or 68, and they make the same watch with the same movement. It's got the also a little 4 o'clock crown to it too. 3750. And finally, over at the far bottom right is another one on this. This is the price on the secondary market. Caliber MT 5813 is a Black Bay chronograph. So here you have, some. For, again, $4,000 is not chicken feed, but compared to some of these other watches, it's a very good price. So this is one of the places that you can do some hunting. By the way, too, check the secondary market on these. Even though these are great prices, you find them in the secondary markets. You can find brand new. You can find some great deals. Okay, this next group is Nomos Glashütte. This is a lot of you know them already, but all of the movements that have DUW in front of them are manufactured by Nomos. By the way, too, Nomos, who was it? Philippe Dufour was asked what he thought the best deal was, best watch under $10,000. He said Nomos. So this is a nice brand. One of the things, though, boy, it doesn't hold the price, okay? Now, they hold their value. Some people say, oh, they lose their value after initial sales. They don't lose their value. They just lose the high price. But these, on the secondary markets, brand new, you can find some great deals on Nomos, excellent deals. And again, this includes the first group I looked at were from the Germans on Chrono 24, all of the German sellers, I filtered those out, and they had dropped the prices too. For some reason, the Japanese had some that were even lower, really good buys on these watches. Even if you just get them at their list price, they're a good deal, but you can find some great deals for unsold ones on the secondary markets. Okay, first of all, you have the Metro Midnight. This is one of the ones I had to get the price from the secondary market because it was a little over $4,000. And like most of the watches, it's an automatic, what they call a neomatic, I think is the term they use. Next to it is a brand new one called the Tetra Plum. I like the color. That's a neat color. This is a woman's watch, and it's the measurements are 29.5 by 29.5. The little square they have for the dial, and it has a DUW 4301. It'd be smaller movement 2780. That's the Nomos list price. Now, next to it is one I happen to like because I like hand wounds. I'm wearing an automatic, but I do like hand wounds. This is DUW 4101 movement in it, which is a wind up. And this is called the Orion 38. 38 refers to the size of it. Now, that's one thing you'll find in a lot of Nomos. You take a look at the number next to it because, if you want something like this, they'll have a 41. Like in the bottom right, left down there, the Tangent Neomatic 41 update. That last year won the prize for the best challenge at the Grand Prix, 3520. And finally, now this is one, the Autobahn Neomatic 41 date. I just like that a whole lot from the day one. I don't know why, but I just thought, man, that's the coolest watch. Now this one was over 4,000, and I had to find a new one on the secondary market. Wasn't a problem at all. A lot of those available on the secondary market for under $4,000, brand new, and it's got the same movement as the one that won last year, the DUW 6101. So Nomos there's another one. You can get great watches, manufactured, brand manufactured movements for a great price. All right, finally, there's this English company called Christopher Ward. Now, they have a caliber that's called SH21, and they have a movement making company that they own and that is in Switzerland, but it's an English company. Everything is put together in England, I guess. Okay, now the SH21, they have two flavors. So the hand wound, which, again, one of the reasons I like it. The watch down on the bottom shows the front and the back. The back is, you can see there's no rotor there. But in the upper left corner, the Grand Malvern Power Reserve, that one is an automatic. And what they did, they simply added an automatic rotor and winder to the SH21, the plain one without the hand wound. The one in the middle is one I like because I like Morgan's. C1 Morgan Aero 8 chronometer 2570. Beautiful, beautiful watch. Love that watch. And again, this has got the Grand Malvern Power Reserve has a 5-day reserve on it. Now, the reason for that, I mentioned this another time, is that they have two barrels, and the barrels are set up in what's called serial. So when one is unwound, the other one kicks in, and it starts unwinding. They can get 5 days out of those out of the double barrel. You wind it up on Monday, and it's good for the rest of the week, and let it go on the weekend. Forget about it. The C8 Aldeer TMB 3420 for the price on that. It's a little higher. Now, this is one of the hand wound versions, and it's got a solid case back. And what they did is that there was a Spitfire that was lost during the Battle of Britain. It had some kind of collision, and they dug it up, and they were used the aluminum from the Spitfire on the Aldeer. And it's got an interesting story with it. They had done something similar with a company called Talker. They had some aluminum from some of the D-Day, or one of the D-Day C-47s that dropped the troops behind the German lines during D-Day. So there's some watches like that. If you're a real history buff, and it's sort of a cool looking watch, I think. Sort of looks like a World War II pilot's watch, and that's what it's supposed to look like. So anyway, I mean, you get a lot of choice from Christopher Ward here, but they're all around the same movement. These other companies we've looked at have different calibers, but Christopher Ward has a single caliber. Now, some of the other calibers with multiple calibers maybe sort of have the same base caliber with some kind of module added to it, so it's not unusual. What was it? Rolex Milgauss and the Rolex Air King both have exactly the same movement, but the prices are different, but the movement's the same. Okay, well, listen, this is what I call my affordable quad, and I would really like to hear from you. I know you're going, and I certainly hope you do, is that say, well, hey, here's another company that has some of their own manufactured movements that are really good prices that are under $4,000. I'd really like to hear what they are and what you think of them, especially if you have one yourself. And until Sunday, this is Bill Sanders for Watch Art Side, the art and science of watch collection.